Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to HCast episode 6. I think we're on. Nice to have you all here. How are you all? Big episode today. Lots and lots of DC stuff for you. Of course, the DC slate has been announced. We've also got some Batgirl situation, some fun about that. We've also got to talk about the fact that Star Wars Celebration 2023 randomly will be having a drag show. I know I didn't think I would be saying that today, but yes, I am. And we'll also be talking about The Last of Us episode, episode 3, I think now. The backlash from that, the show in general. And that'll probably be about it for the show. So it's quite full of a stream today. If you're new here to these streams, just as a bit of an FYI, you want to support what we do here, please do use the super chat function. Please do use the super sticker function. Goes a long way. Literally helps keep the lights on. And obviously you can join in the conversation as well as supporting the show. Side note, the links in the description box, you will find a link to Mistake Reviews live archives, which is it's basically where all the clips of these streams go. They get chopped up. Some people can't watch 2-3 hour streams. I get it. So I spend a great deal of time chopping it all up and creating individual videos. So please do check out that channel linked down below, as well as everyone's channel who regularly appears on this show. We've got my co-host with the mustachios toast, Paulie from the Latino Slant. That was terrible. How you doing?
Yeah, that's all right. It's now become from a bigote. It's become a brocha. From a mustache, it's become a brush.
I like, yeah, I like it. Good. You can you could do some shoe shining with that, couldn't you?
No, I'm excited, man. You know, to talk about everything that's going on.
Full episode.
Yeah, I've been waiting, and everyone, make sure you not only like and obviously comment, but also share this link, guys. Let's get people in here and be great.
Yeah, so I don't actually mention that enough. Please do share the stream out. YouTube is nerfing the channel at the moment. Like, you guys are not getting notifications. I can see that from analytics. I think it's because I spent a few days not uploading, and as much as YouTube always tells you, "Oh, take a break," go have a break. You can't have a break. YouTube, they fuck you over. Anyway, we've got Tom Connors from Midnight's Edge After Dark. How you doing, good sir?
I'm hanging in there as best I can anyway. It's been an interesting morning thus far, and it's shaping up to be an interesting afternoon.
Yeah, well, this is an interesting turn of events. So I think,
well, it's kind of expected, but I wasn't expecting this much, like the quantity, I guess, that we got out of it.
Yeah,
we'll get into it.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that we will. And that will take us off right now to our first topic, which is James Gunn and the DC slate. DC Studios, he has announced that he did this big sort of 6-minute, 5-minute, whatever it is, presentation. Paulie actually hasn't seen it. So we're going to watch it all together as a group before we start to talk about it and dissect it. So, Paulie, let's sort of, we'll obviously play it for your benefit as well.
All right. Appreciate it.
But yeah, Tom, let's check this out. Any second now, Tom, mate.
Hey, everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now this, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action. The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is a big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it, and Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is a story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character. And it brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about, a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure.
So, thoughts first, Paulie.
A couple things to be for me. I'm kind of interested in, but then I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. So, well, it sounds like how he's framed it, right? Is that Shazam's staying in the DCU, Aquaman is staying in the DCU, the Flash is staying in the DCU. Because they say they lead off, they do this, they do that.
But
then we have our premiere.
No, it's not quite how he worded it. See, here's where the thing is. He said those are the things we have to finish off, and then he says what kicks off my DCU is like this one series, and then he talks about the Amanda Waller series, right? And then he talks about Superman, which there he says something very interesting just before he talks about Superman, and this is what I found very interesting about that. Now listen to his wording here.
That's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is a big one, the true beginning of the DCU.
The true beginning of the DCU. That's what I picked up on.
This is called Superman Legacy.
Yeah. No, I mean, okay.
Because he brought up before that whole thing about Elseworlds and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I still think, well, he talks about, what was it? What was the first group called?
I think it was that cartoon, animated thing.
Cartoon. So that was.
There's a lot of ho hum for me. There's
Yeah.
a lot of ho hum from it because I'm coming this as pretty much a normie with DC Comics. So a couple things I'm excited about. I just have a lot of questions. A lot of things. There's a few of these I just like really don't care. Booster Gold is really cool. Obviously, Superman.
That'd be Chris Pratt.
Yeah, that's what everybody's thinking.
That'll be a lot of fun. And then if we can get Booster and Jaime Reyes together in the future, that would be dope. What was the other thing I was mildly interested in? I think it was towards the end. But a lot of questions, a lot of stuff, Tom. I'm just like, don't really care about
the Authority. I reckon.
Well, the Lanterns was okay.
Well, so there's a lot that's actually just taken from what was previously being in development. Anyway, Lanterns was.
The last, yes, obviously Swamp Thing. That's why I referred to Tom, because I thought of Tom here with the Swamp Thing and the horror element. That could be really, really cool. I think they're bumping that one up because Marvel did so well with Werewolf by Night. They're going to repeat the horror of the year, horror film. They're going to do another one for Halloween coming up this year again because Werewolf by Night was so successful. I think that's really cool, really cool. My question was Supergirl. I don't know if Tom had anything to say about Swamp Thing.
I quite like that idea.
Swamp Thing is one of the things I'm not too worried about. Like, there's basically two huge red flags in this whole thing outside of the debate that we just got into. And that's where I feel like a lot of people are going to be curious about, is because I hear a lot of political talk in what James said here. It sounds like a lot of the stuff he was saying online, right? Like, because he doesn't want to poo-poo any of the stuff that's coming out because, they want people to still go see it.
Oh, that's true.
And there's still things that were in development before James Gunn ever even was president, like the Amanda Waller series. And I think that super secret series that he was talking about was that one the first one he mentioned with that has his Weasel guy from this one here, the Creature Commandos. See, I think this was his secret project he was talking about before he ever became president. So I think
that's done, isn't it? So that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a clear separation between all the stuff that still has to come out. These things here, the Amanda Waller series, his second season of Peacemaker, and I think that the true DCU starts, as he says, on July 11th, 2025, with the release of Superman Legacy. Because from there on out, we get a new Superman, we get a new Green Lantern Corps. We get this group here, which this is the project, the Authority. I think this is the one James Gunn's going to direct, because this is like right up his alley, kind of.
Well, this to me screams DC's attempt at The Boys, right? Like, you listen to what they said about it. Well, it literally is what he's saying. Like, it's as a group of superheroes, I think the world is, broken, and they're going to fix it by any means that they feel, that they want to do it by. So it's definitely, superheroes gone astray. I mean, it's Invincible, it's The Boys, it's that same old.
Well, and I think he's going to direct it simply because he said it was a passion project of his. And from what I know of this, I don't know a lot, but from what I know, it'll kind of fit in his, kind of holster or whatever you want to call it. And then you got the Themyscira Paradise Lost series.
This sounds terrible. Game of Thrones, Westeros, but on Themyscira with Wonder Woman, Amazonians. I don't
think Wonder Woman's going to be in it, but I think it's going to be laying the groundwork for the new Wonder Woman, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
because as you notice, We get a new Superman. We got Wonder Woman here, and then of course this is the biggest red flag of them all for me, besides
No, I
the other
want
one.
to. Let's still talk about this Paradise thing.
If you want
What
to,
is it
sure.
called? Paradise Lost.
Lost.
I think, I don't know. Like, to me, that's it. I mean, budgetary constraints and things like that. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you know, TV live action. It's like an HBO Max thing.
I
don't
think
know.
you
I
got to
don't
key
like
in on
that.
the Game of Thrones aspect. They're going to try and go for that audience. I think it's going to be a bit more adult
But it's
oriented.
the
I don't think
same audience, though. They're cannibalizing themselves.
That's
It's
a good
HBO
point.
Max.
And
So,
yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna
but
say
that's what they
same
want is
audience, same channel.
they want to pull in that kind of audience with the DC universe, though, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about a business, like, you got
I'm
to
not giving
diversify
it
your
I'm not
content.
giving it a pass. I'm just saying that's
No, I know, but it's a conversation, isn't it? You know, like, you're saying that, I agree, but that's dumb. Like, if that is the case, because you got to diversify content to get new subscribers. You're making the same type of content for the same people. Like, sure, you'll keep them, but you're not going to grow your audience. I don't know. I just think it sounds crap. But you are right, I think, Tom. Like, I think that will be how they introduce people. You know, Wonder Woman. And then, yeah, you were saying about Batman.
Yeah,
I
because
don't like this.
This one makes me worry for many reasons. First of all, the Brave and the Bold. I'm not a big fan of multiple Robins. We've already had. I can see where they came to this conclusion, because they're like, okay, we've had old.
How?
They probably sat down and said, look, we've already had older Batman with Ben Affleck. That didn't quite work. We got the young Batman going right now with Pattinson. That's working in whatever way it's working. We need to go the middle ground. So they went the middle ground with this, but I think they went at it the wrong way. If I would have done it, and this is just my personal opinion, I could be wrong on this, but this to me is the first red flag here. Because to do this, you're going to have like a late 30s, early 40s or better Batman.
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah, I would have just started it with like year 3 or 4 Batman with the regular Robin. We've never had regular Robin get his just due. Even in Batman Forever, it was technically Nightwing, right? Like, I mean, he's old.
Yeah.
I mean, we've never had Robin. So, like,
yeah,
jumping to this is kind of red flag.
But it also flies in the face of what they said previously, is that Dave Bautista came out and was like, yeah, I spoke to James Gunn. Yeah, he wants younger and fresher. What's younger and fresher about? Like, also, Damian Wayne is a terrible Robin. I hate Damian Wayne. He's an awful character. I understand that he's meant to be that way, but he's not that interesting either. And then as part of that, you've got to introduce quite a large element in one movie. So you've got to introduce Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul, the League of Shadows. You've got to introduce all of that on top of Damian Wayne himself, and the dynamic between the two of them. There's quite a lot. Like, and
well, it's kind of some of the mistakes Marvel's been making, right? By bypassing years and years of very important groundwork and story arcs to jump to new modern stuff, right?
Yeah.
So this to me is, like I said, the first big red flag is this right here. I don't know if you agree, Paulie, but
the red flag. Only because it's kind of just the whole Batman thing is just so confusing. Like, how many Batmans are there right now?
And then he said Bat Family on top of it. So
there's Reeve, right?
Well,
there's Keaton. Is Affleck still going to be showing up at all, or is he out?
No, this is all completely this is renew, and nothing from the previous thing will stand in this new one. Basically, this is all brand new stuff.
That's what I'm thinking. At least, again, I may not be right, but I think that's why he said that. With Superman starts the actual DCU, basically.
So it's like, okay, gotcha. Yeah. So basically, you got to get through a year of stuff that's already been done. And then this is my stuff, basically saying.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'll see anything Batman. I don't know,
But I think one of the positives is, he says, the Bat family. And so if you are jumping forward with Damian Wayne, then yeah, you could have Nightwing. I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah, you have Nightwing and all the other established Batgirl and whoever else you want to bring in, I guess. But I'm not a big fan of that anyway. To me, Batman works best with like Batman, Robin, and maybe one other. Catwoman usually can sit in as a third, or
I like Catwoman. I don't like the wider. The wider.
Yeah, once you take it beyond that, Yeah, to me it gets too weird because like, isn't Batman supposed to be like this kind of like, on his own kind of
Recluse.
character? Like, yeah, it just doesn't kind of
Yeah.
work.
Well, it's not just that. It's also like it just dilutes it down. I don't know. I'm not a huge. I just don't like Damian Wayne as a character. He's just not that interesting.
I'll be honest with you. I think the
he's a
whole Bat
petulant
family
little
idea.
fuck.
Yeah, there's that too. But I think the whole Bat family idea is what influenced the CW into this idea that everything had to have like a crew for their hero.
Mm.
Did you notice that? Like, it
Yeah, that's
started,
true.
and to me, it kind of started with Batman in that sense. It's like he doesn't need a crew.
Mm. No, the only interesting element of what I would consider the only interesting expansion to Batman was Batman Beyond and having Terry McGinnis. That was a fantastic character. It's not like the Bat family, but kind of technically was because it was kind of like a clone of Bruce Wayne anyway. But like that was interesting. That was the only interesting expansion to Batman proper. I really liked that. Rather than having the sort of Bat family outwards, that was a good. Yeah, kept it sort of still at its core, but you also worked alongside Bruce Wayne. That was good. I like Batman Beyond a lot. Anyway, what was the next one? Was it Booster Gold or something? Like Booster Gold, I think could be good fun. We know that's probably going to
Yeah,
be
Booster Gold's
Booster Gold.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably
that's
going
going
to
to be
be
Chris Pratt. Of course,
Here
it
was
is.
Red Flag number 2 because of course Tom King, and
yeah, so that's bad. That's not good. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you have anything to say about Booster Gold before we move on to Supergirl?
No, I already remember I talked about that.
Yeah,
to
I just
begin
wanted to
with.
make sure. Okay, sorry about that.
But yeah, I have some thoughts on Supergirl.
Go.
Oh,
Oh,
who's super? Is it still going to be Sasha Calle's Supergirl because they're keeping her in the Flash?
well, so
No,
that's
I don't think
interesting.
so. Maybe,
Well,
but
but
I doubt it.
Well, so this is the thing: is that the way he's explaining that character, right?
Yeah.
This jaded person. That's how she was explained to me in the leaks for the Flash. So they could, from what I've heard of that character, anyway. So they could do it. I don't think they will, but they could do it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, I guess I didn't even really think of that, Paulie, to be honest with you.
Well, the only reason why I bring it up is because the Flash is coming really soon, and she's
Yeah.
in it a lot, and
But she was
I'm just
also in the Batgirl they shit can too, wasn't she?
I think she. I don't know how much of Batgirl she was in, but I think they were scrubbing Batgirl a lot for other different reasons. But I'm confused, as to what iteration of this is of
That's a good
Supergirl is this
question.
going to
Yeah.
be. That's all.
Well, I would imagine that movie will set the record straight. I would imagine, but we'll see. What was the next one on this list?
I do want to say that did he mention any stars
Swamp
by
Thing.
name?
No, there's been no. That's the
No
thing is there's
casting.
been no casting yet. He's still
Right,
writing
so-
Superman and stuff, so they haven't even got close to casting on that yet.
Yeah.
So it might be a
no
different Supergirl because he didn't even mention Sasha Calle.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I don't know.
It could be a lot.
I
of
totally
nothing.
spaced out that she was in fucking Flash though until you said it, Paulie. That was the thing. I didn't even think about that.
Well, yeah,
she
because
looks
we've
like
been
a
so
he.
like preoccupied when you think of Flash. It's like,
Exactly.
You
She's
didn't
like the
catch that
last
one,
thing on
Paulie.
the plate. Yeah, we didn't. I didn't hear you either, Nate.
Goddamn! I said because she looks like a he. That's why.
Oh,
That's why you forgot that she was in it. She does look like a he in that bloody film. Come on.
Yeah,
They absolutely
unfortunately,
butchered her
did
looks.
not do her any
They
favors. that's for
uglified
sure.
her. I will not take any nonsense on that. She was uglified. They Hollywood wrecked her.
uglified.
They
That's
did.
funny.
They Hollywood wrecked her like they do with any bloody attractive woman nowadays. Absolutely. I don't know. I actually don't know what she looks like normally, but they
No, from what
definitely.
I've seen from normal pictures, she looks very beautiful. They did
No, I don't
hug
know.
her up.
No,
a bit,
but she's too. Yeah, she's gone with the whole androgynous look of late. So she, I don't know what's going on there, but that's a whole nother.
And then we had Swamp Thing, which I think we kind of covered a little bit already. But yeah, this is one I have probably the least worry about, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
what about getting John Carpenter back to direct it?
No. No. Look, so just to give
was he meant to direct one at one point?
Just to give
Didn't he direct the first one?
No, you're thinking of Wes Craven.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So just to give my thoughts on Swamp Thing as a whole, I think really good, happy. I think that's the most positive out of the whole thing. I think Swamp Thing has strong potential to be very, very good. Talking about getting the likes of John Carpenter on board, for instance. Unfortunately, he is like for directing, spending like 3-4 months on a set. Like he's getting on a bit for that. So, he's a legend, but I don't think I'd direct.
I think in a recent interview he said something like he's not totally done with directing, but I think you're right. It would have to be a very personal project for him to commit that much time to a movie.
Absolutely. So I guess that sort of covers our thoughts on the slate itself. We have a bunch of super chats that came in here.
Oh, interesting.
And I will actually, if I could get you to leave that video up as well, because I want to touch on something he said in that video as well. But we've got some super chats that came in first and foremost, so we'll just get to them. Thank you, everyone, doing super chats, ladies and gents. We've got 320 odd people here. Please do hit that thumbs up button. I would appreciate it. So we've got Fergal Kelly dropped in with the first super chat of the day. He says, do you think that having Damian as Robin opens up having Nightwing and Red Hood down the road?
Yes.
And also, Fergal Kelly, you remember at support level 1 for 20 months. So thank you so much for that as well. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I alluded to already, isn't it? Is that having Damian and that his sort of wording on the Bat family introduces the Bat family. I think it does. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it totally does. Unfortunately, it saves them time, but it
misses
like
a lot.
Paulie already has tons of questions, and I think a lot of other people are going to have questions going into this because not most normies are aware of who a lot of these ancillary characters are.
Yeah, it misses a lot of good stories as well.
Yeah, and that's okay, right? Exactly, just exactly what you said. I wanna, let's check out the stories, and bring us normies in.
Gary for £5 says, I'm so mad. So Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman, Shazam, Amanda Waller, and his Peacemaker. Don't care about Waller. Batman is older. Same mistake Snyder made. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Batman has to be older in this. He has to be.
At least in his 40s or so. Depending on what age 40s. They make Damian.
Yeah, like, I don't know about that. Yeah, interesting. It's not a great.
Well, I think they're also making a mistake of not exploring. Robin has never, look, I agree. Somebody said earlier, Batman works best on his own. I agree. Batman works best on his own. But if you're going to have Robin in the mix, one thing we've never had is a true, serious look at what it would be about, if this guy who does this actually took on a 12 or 13-year-old kid who he really didn't have a right to say, no, you don't have a right to go after your vengeance, considering he went through the same thing. But what other kind of questions, is the whole thing. I mean, it's kind of an interesting idea to look at from a serious point of view. Sure, we've had Robin in the past in the original show, but he was already 17, 18 by that point, and they didn't get into that aspect of the story. By the time we got to the Chris O'Donnell Robin, he's basically Nightwing as Robin at that point. So it's not even really Robin, if you're going to do this with a kid, I think Robin should get his just dues first, because Robin has never gotten actual screen time on a movie where you kind of explored what it is like to have the, a kid companion in the situation, like Kick-Ass did, basically. In that sense, of kind of looking at it from that perspective.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Sam Packer sent in $20, and I think that was actually associated with another comment, which was up here. It says, love you guys. Thank you, Mr. H, for introducing me to Paulie and The Latino Slant, and Midnight's Edge. You guys are all heroes in my book. Keep up the great work. Never give up. Never surrender. Yeah, I mean that's part of one of the good things of sort of creating this panel. Is there's a range of opinions. It's not an echo chamber, and you guys get to
Although it looks like most people do not like Damian Wayne from the chat.
Yeah,
he's not a very.
I have to say, every time you say that, I think of Damian Wayans.
Which is weird because Marlon Wayans almost played Robin, which is weird.
Yes,
yes, because that was Tim Burton's choice for Robin. Yeah,
wow, there's the head thing. Yeah, that would have been very interesting. But Tim Burton's, doesn't like black people, so
yeah, he evidently does. According to remember that? Yeah, it was like what, a year ago, 2 years ago. There was a huge. They were trying to cancel him for half a minute.
Oh, there was like during when Wednesday debuted.
It was like all the villains.
It was just this year. Yeah.
Shut up. Anyway, Gary for £5 says Green Lanterns should be a buddy cop action movie, not a detective thing. Leave that to Batman and sort the main DC characters first before doing Wildstorm. Yeah, true. I think Green Lantern. Well, maybe that's what they're going to be doing with Booster Gold, though.
And that's fair because I'm not too familiar with the Wildstorm crew or anything like that. I just know from what people had told me about it that I'm like, okay, that's the one. And considering James Gunn said it was the one that he was passionate about, like that's the one I can see him directing out of the ones he announced today. Because he did mention other directors in his in the bit there at the end. So
yeah, that makes sense. Right, so let's on to the next topic. Right, Tom, we'll bring up this video again towards the end. Just go towards the end whilst just a little bit back, just as he finishes talking about Swamp Thing. Okay. Now play it at normal speed.
Anyway, those are the stories.
Yeah, I got actually at 1.5, 2.
Yeah, so let's play it at normal speed, and I want everyone to pick up on some
stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is...
Stop it there. It's a pretty big dig at Marvel, I think. I've got to say it.
That might be right.
Pretty big bloody dig at Marvel. I heard that and I burst into laughter. Replay it. You now I've mentioned it. If you didn't think about it before, you listen to that and you see what you think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
In all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all.
Yeah, I think you kind of, I don't know if it's a direct shot, but I think there is. Because like Andre picked up on a few things too that he thought might have been shots at Marvel, but we didn't necessarily pick up on that one. Of course, we shut it off at that point because he didn't have time for his.
Well, what else did you pick up on then? What else did you pick up
just
on?
In the beginning part about everything being uniformed between television, movies, and video games and stuff, he did make sure to say that, but I think other people picked up also that he didn't say anything about comics, but just how Andre was like, well, I wasn't he kind of disappointed by the whole video game thing? I said, well, maybe, but I don't know if that's necessarily a crack at them, but this may have been more of a direct shot.
I think it's definitely a direct shot. I mean,
it's funny. You saying this is because even though we already knew the circumstances around it, one of the guys who worked with Edgar Winters on Ant-Man just was in a recent interview I just read.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of odd that you just, that you keyed in on that too, because that's really what the whole art. I mean, like us, we did the report a while back. That's the reason why, is because it just didn't see eye to eye anymore on the story, because it had been 8 years since they started developing it, and now the MCU was a thing. I mean, like, we already knew that, but this is somebody confirming that now. So like, it is kind of funny on the timing of that, maybe. I mean, I'm sure there's just a coincidence there, but I don't know, Paulie, what do you think? I don't know. In Hollywood, is there coincidences like that? Or did Paulie step away? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, no. Listen, they're highly competitive, creative people. That's for sure. He there's that theory that it was actually him who was, a driving creative force behind the phases of Marvel. He gets the treatment that he got, and then he comes back, does his thing. But I gotta think of a motivating factor for him is to crush Marvel, absolutely. And now's a good time because Marvel is just flailing in the wind. So yeah, I would have to like watch it again, and pick up on the ism. What I do get from his vibe is he's a creative nut. That's a good thing.
I think you're right, Mr. H. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because this is also coming off of the fact that he's been able to have almost complete creative control and freedom over at Warner Brothers in comparison at Marvel, where he's always had to be in that box, I'm sure.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, look, even if it's not a direct dig at Marvel, he's not an idiot. He would be well aware how people are going to take that. He's well aware. He would unequivocally, like the guy's on Twitter all day long. He would be well aware of what people say about Marvel and how he was the first one to break that Marvel mold, to break away from the Marvel formula. And that was basically what, made Guardians such a large success, because it was so different and it was out there and it was not the formulaic, Marvel box that every other film just sits in at the moment. And he can't be, to ignore the fact that is so prevalent in most people's, discourse about Marvel and superhero genre would be, I mean, he must know it. So saying that, like, even if it's not a direct dig, he's not an idiot. He must be aware that people would take it in that way. So saying it, by proxy, even if it's not a direct dig, is a dig, I guess, in that regard. He's not a moron. He'd know that people would take it in that way. Again, he's on Twitter all day long.
Well, this seems like a very calculated announcement. I mean, it's very heavily edited. I don't know if you could tell. I'm sure you could, considering. But like, so like I'm sitting here going, this is the best they could do is present this in a way. Like, and I know they're in a no-win scenario here because you have several different camps at this point where you're not going to make all of them happy. But I think that this was constructed in a way to where he could make the largest swath of the fan base at least in my opinion, because this is where I'm at it right now. Like, after hearing this, there's some red flags, but I'm like looking at it from a half full kind of perspective. I'm like, let's see what you got. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And again, I don't know. The big debate is I think that this is actually going to kick off with Superman. I think everything up to that point is just leftovers, Thanksgiving leftovers, and Christmas is really starting with Superman. And at that point, it's all on Gunn, right? Like from there on out, if he fails with Batman, that's going to be a big snafu. Superman, he's got a little more leeway and room to squiggle. The Green Lantern series just has to be better than that fucking Ryan Reynolds movie, And the only other thing that he announced that has any real expectations probably attached to it would probably be the Themyscira series. And on that note, probably just because people are going to be looking at it to see, okay, is this setting up for what we got with Gal Gadot, or is this setting us up for something different, or what is this? I think maybe just kind of an interesting look at what is it going to be. I'm not saying it's going to be any good, like you said, it kind of sounds out there, but I think that's the one that has the most potential to either disappoint or get some people on board with the idea of what he's going forward with. The Batman one, though, he's got to knock that out the park, and I don't think he's going to do that with this. I hope I'm wrong, but that's going to be a big one because, as we all know, Batman's the big dog in this. So,
well, yes, I mean, so's Superman, and
Superman's big, but Batman's the big dog as far as top of everything.
Yeah.
Top of the box office, top seller for toys and comics.
More Superman. Yes, I mean Superman more so now, just because they have to live up to the realization that they binned off someone that people wanted.
That's a problem.
To see.
Yeah,
and so you have to make it even better. On in that regard, they have revealed some information about that, and also just to kind of round out that comment. I stand by it. I definitely think he's taken a jab at Marvel. But anyway, Safran has revealed some information.
A little bit, yeah, I saw that.
So yeah, he said Superman Legacy will mark the start of the DCU, and that's as Safran put it, but will actually not be an origin story. I mean, it is. Whatever they say, it's still an origin. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He's the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. Good that they're still using that word or that phrase. That is good because they removed that from the comics. Do you remember?
Yeah, that kind of was
in the American way.
That made me feel good. That's where I'm like, it's a roller coaster of an announcement, and that's where I was saying, like, I think this was made in a way to kind of make the largest swath of fans that could happy, but they know there's still going to be some that are just not going to buy into this. You got the Snyder group that is just going to be pissed off to a point. You know, you can keep them hanging on for as long as you can, but like you just said with Peter hitting it home there again, I think there's something to that when they said the DCU initially starts with Superman. Everything else before that is Elseworlds, you know, kind of the thing, I think.
Yeah. So they also said he is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. Gunn is writing the project, and Safran said he hopes Gunn can be persuaded to direct it as well. So they also want him to direct it. But Gunn chimed in this interview and said, Superman is for everyone. That's a 4-quadrant film that should speak to everyone in the world. Interesting. I don't think there's much else really there.
There's a lot of, again, we're getting a lot of mixed stuff from both ends. And from what I can gather is that that's going to be the soft or the hard reboot there. They're going to have a little bit of a soft reboot with the Flash for about a year or two. And then they're going to just start with Superman. And from there, hopefully clear sailing, I guess. I don't know. I'm really kind of optimistic, but like I got a few.
I mean, I think overall the slate's quite underwhelming. I don't think it was worth the wait. You know, personally, I just don't think it was. I think it is an underwhelming slate.
I wonder if they were kind of forced into making this announcement a little earlier than they wanted, though. But at the same time, I kind of heard this was going to be the plan.
Mate. Nah, of course not. He literally said in the new year. I mean, that is January. Like, that was him off his own back. I don't think he's been forced into it. I just don't think that they. No, I reckon he talked himself into a corner. He spent too long on Twitter spouting off all this bollocks.
Well, what I mean by that is I think that's why they announced so much, because I did hear they were going to announce a few things or give an idea prior to the big because next week they've got the earnings call or whatever.
Well, this is only the first part of it, he said, doesn't it? There's more.
Yeah, exactly. And from what my initial, like, from what I was kind of hinted at from the people I talked to, was that I initially was told it wasn't going to be as big of a deal as people thought. And I think what you're saying is true. Oh, we lost H. I think what you're saying here. Okay. I think what you're saying is true, is that he kind of knew he had to try and build this up a little bit more than what he initially had thought, because this got built up a bit more than they probably thought it was going to with everything going on.
God, how could you possibly think this wasn't going to be big? God, what an absolute spanner. That makes me.
Well, I know they think they thought it was going to be big, but what I don't think is they expected some of the pushback with like Cavill and shit like that.
How could you not? God, he spends, how long does he spend on Twitter? How could you not? I just whatever. Anyway, Al Humphrey sent in a £5 super sticker. Thank you so much.
Paulie knows those people better than I do.
Well, yeah, go on then.
I sent you the image of the Al Humphreys.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Love that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's like a dancing pair, isn't it? I love that. That's cool.
And did we get the membership?
I can't see memberships through.
Oh, I didn't put in the private chat.
Don't think so.
Yeah,
I did the
Fergal
Kelly one. I did that one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Listen, man,
I'm working. I got Olaf in my ear. I'm doing this. I'm doing that for the show.
You better.
There was. Oh God, you guys brought something up, and now it's gone in my head.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to one more super chat first.
Okay.
Whilst you remember, Mr. Tickle Trunks for $5 Canadian says for the Get Jasper a new toy or snack fund. Nate's producer deserves something nice. He does. I actually reached out to you, Mr. I got a bone to pick with you, Mr. Tickle Trunks. I reached out to you on Twitter. It's only a comment. It was a tweet on one of your tweets. I tweeted your tweet, and I asked, can I get a bit of a bit of sketch work done? A bit of sketch work. He posted a picture. I was like, motherfucker didn't reply. Didn't reply. I thought you were joking. What do you mean? I ain't fucking joke with people. I'm dead serious.
Oh my Lord. Come on, Mr. Tickle.
Honestly, your work was really good. So I was like, oh, you know what? I could get you to do some funny little like avatars if I want to do a video where I don't appear. That's basically what I was trying to get you to do. You bloody ignored me, you son of a bitch. God. Well, I was joking. When do I ever crack jokes? I am dead serious. All the time.
Let me get back to that.
Did you bloody message me, Mr. Tickle Trunks? Did you remember what you wanted to say? That's all or not.
About the DC stuff. Oh God. Tommy, what was the last thing you said?
I don't even remember now. Something about how Cavill and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know.
Sorry, guys.
Never mind. Anyway, let's shuffle on to something you shared with me, actually.
Okay.
Paulie, which is all about.
Before you start, you have another one from Tickle.
I do. Hold on. I do art for games. I never do characters. That's why I'm a cartoon muppet. I'll shoot you a DM. Well, that's what I wanted. Like, I wanted basically, like, there are some videos which I choose not to appear in now. Obviously, some videos I do, some videos I don't, and videos that I choose not to appear in, I'd like a range of cartoon avatars to depict, states of emotion or conversation. And also to have them as an overlay, as a PNG overlay for thumbnails. So that's basically what I was trying to ask you to do. So now you can DM me with respect to whether you want to do it or not. But I wasn't joking. It was a very sincere tweet, and you pied me off. So egg on my face, I guess. Got mugged right off. Right. Anyway, so let's have a look at this. So this is. But thanks for the super
I remembered.
Well. Oh my God, here we go. He's remembered.
I remembered. Why wasn't the penguin even not mentioned at all? I mean, that's like.
That's a funny thing too.
Kind of did by saying the Batverse.
Yeah, and they did.
Kind of did.
Supposedly, we got a release date for the Batman from January. So I don't know. And I've heard kind of back and forth on that. Yeah, I guess it's October.
Where was that?
It was in a January announcement that kind of predated some of this stuff. So again, we'll have to wait and see how it turns out. I mean, but you're right, Paulie, that I did notice that everything after that, here's Superman and Beyond, nothing was announced that had anything, or even in that first portion of that, the Penguin wasn't mentioned. The Batman 2 wasn't really mentioned outside of it just being an Elseworld thing, like with the Joker. It was mentioned in the same sentence with the Joker. So to me, that just kind of felt weird. Because again, there's a lot of politics in this.
Nah, I think that's all fine. Like, I mean, that to me, I think that's absolutely fine. To me, that was him confirming Batverse is separate.
At the same time, there's a lot of weird that we know is separate. But what I'm saying is it feels like there's a lot of shit you can interpret and read into what you want to with what he said.
But the normies, the plebs, right, in terms of, whether you're in the world, you're talking about this stuff, you're watching these kind of videos, normal people don't know that. So he's addressing normal people by saying that. You've got to remember this has to be, something which is addressing everyone, and that's basically what he's doing by saying that. He's talking to the lowest common. He's talking to the baseline moron by saying that, which I think is absolutely fine. Like, I think it's justified because he's trying to leave no stone unturned by saying, and that's why we have Matt Reeves' Batverse separate and the Joker by Todd Phillips separate. He's just trying to. Again, you got to remember he's on Twitter all day long. He's dealing with people, saying whatever all day long. So, I think it's fine. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic, which is one you sent over, Paulie, which is actually about Batgirl. So we've got two things to say here.
More
about
DC.
Batgirl. So yeah, it is more DC. This is interesting. So this was the one you sent, and then we'll get on to something which I sort of found after the fact. But do you want to lead off with this one, Paulie, or do you want me to? I don't know how you want to do this one.
Yeah. I mean, I can't read that, but I can bring it up on my own.
Yeah. Bring it up, and I'll sort of just put it around on this as well. That's
okay, give me a
fine.
second, guys.
I'll give you 2 seconds, Paulie. I'll give you 2 seconds.
Okay, here we go. Axed Batgirl movie featured so many action scenes of Brendan Fraser and Leslie Grace beating each other up. While an overhauled DC universe is now here from new studio bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran, many comic book movie fans are still mourning the loss of the old regime's Batgirl. I don't know if that's true. The project from directors Abari and Falah, excuse me, I'm not going to mention that, mispronunciate, was intended to be an HBO Max original, but was axed in post-production in part of what Warner Brothers Discovery could take a tax write-off on it. Batgirl will never see the light of day, but any information about the completely filmed superhero movie continues to trickle out. Leslie Grace, who played the how do you say that? I don't know how to say that.
Leslie Grace, who played the eponymous hero.
Thank you. Hero recently told Collider that she filmed numerous action scenes opposite Brendan Fraser, who starred as the villainous Firefly. You guys have any comments there?
Well, so we'll get to some of the other elements of that in a minute in the other topic, because again they've sort of come out and further established some bits and pieces. But let's just talk about this as an as a thought experiment for what they're trying to present here, I guess.
Yeah.
But I will say, just as an FYI, it's always endearing to see Brendan Fraser now coming back into Hollywood. I say that every time we talk about it. It's good to see him back. It's good to see him. It's good. It's good to see him. He deserves it. He's one of those people, Hollywood good guy. So
I'm curious if Brendan wins the Academy Award. Obviously, it's a full comeback already. If he wins the Academy Award, there's a master of this somewhere, right, Tom? They didn't just dissolve this.
They made sure it was off the hard drives before anybody could get to it. Remember, so the only master that exists. Okay, yeah, because the directors said they tried to get it off the hard drive. Yeah, and they said it was gone.
People were defending them for that, and I was like, no, they were trying to steal something.
They were trying to steal
paid.
It.
That's not okay. Like. That's you don't.
No, my guess is that it was pulled off the hard drive, and any masters of this that exist are sitting in some lawyer's vault somewhere. Or
okay, so whatever. Let's say they exist, and let's say Brennan has.
Oh, they do exist, yeah.
Okay, so he has some sort of like crazy renaissance. He's beloved. Did they roll this stuff out in a couple years?
No,
they're not legally allowed to.
No, I think that's part of the write down. Is that's one of the reasons why they made sure that they made sure that was probably taken off so nobody could leak it out, because if it got leaked out, that probably would compromise them writing it off. And that's kind of what Mikey, I think, had said too in so many words. So I would assume that's the case. So again, now that isn't to say in 5-10 years from now somebody won't leak it out in some way, shape, or form, but I don't think we'll ever get an official release of this at any time soon.
No.
And Safran even had a reason for why it got killed too.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Okay. I truly had one of the best experiences with Batgirl, Grace said. In terms of the experience of shooting, we were also excited for people to see a lot of the action, a lot of the practical shots we did with fire. Our movie was full of practical fire, which was really hard to shoot.
Why say fire so much and practical?
I know. Brandon was our villain, our Firefly. He was just so outstanding. I feel so blessed to have him as my sparring partner. We had so many amazing action scenes together where we
Fire.
were just beating each other up, but hugging in between takes because he's just so sweet.
Okay.
That's tickled me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
She could have said it was fire. Yeah.
Yeah. What a right, keep going, Paulie.
Grace continued. I would have loved people to seen those moments. But you know what? You have the experience and you keep on rolling. I feel so blessed. All in all, that I have those memories, and hopefully maybe in some future, some clips will arise and people will get to enjoy a little bit of it. But for now, we'll just keep on going as it is, as it going. Wait, but we'll just have to keep it going as it going in comic folklore, I guess, with all our memories and all our stories while we can.
All right. I mean,
I think everything else is kind of regurgitated from the past year.
yeah. Look, I mean, we are getting some clips released, and they're not very good. There was one floating around on Twitter not too long ago where she's like running around a corner, and it was the most awkward sequence. Have you seen that one? I can't find it now, but it was the most awkward sequence ever. God damn, it was bad. Like, I know you like Leslie Grace.
Yes, I
I'm
do.
not ragging on her. That was her direction.
It was not a very athletic run. I will give you that.
It was
not.
far from it was far from athletic.
Far from athletic.
It's like Brendan Fraser in The Whale trying to run. All right.
I would hope that it was kind of one of those, like, I know we're not really shooting. They just need me to mark kind of runs, which happens all the time.
I heard action. So.
Oh, did you?
Fire.
No, I retract my last statement. Fire.
Oh, goodness me.
I will say, I will say, and I've said this before. I mean, you put so much of your life, let's say she put a year and all that stuff into her into this job. She got paid, which is good. She's going forward, but that's still got to be like that's always going to be with her. It's always going to be part of her career. Is that this
You know what? I think this will benefit her career, if anything, because everyone came out defending her. Everyone came out, again, this is unprecedented. Oh my God. I think this would benefit her career more than it will hinder it. It'll be one of those weird opportunities where it boosts her. I reckon it would genuinely boost her career more than it will damage it.
I agree. And she's handled it with class, which you can't say about a lot of actors when they face adversity or even something like this. She didn't blame anyone. She wouldn't blame any systemic something. I don't know what. They could have easily made. I know some of her fans in the Latino community, in the Latino media, tried to do that.
Oh yeah, they were really pushing hard for that.
Yeah, going hard against Zaslav and kind of making this something that it wasn't. I will tell you, I have been invited to the Blue Beetle premiere. And I'm going to have full disclosure and all that good stuff with you guys as time goes along. But it is from a new friend that's working there. Well, new friend to me, but that has been working there in Warner for a minute. And we had some deep combos. What's that?
Are they Latin?
Yes. Working behind the scenes financial departments. It's very interesting.
Interesting.
Very interesting talk. I was totally surprised because I met him, just as a friend of a friend, and I was like, "What? Will you do what?" And it was fascinating, and we really didn't get to. I didn't get
to
mention
anything about Batgirl then.
I didn't get to ask about what was I asking. We were talking a lot about Blue Beetle. We're talking about why stuff was axed and what wasn't. We talked about another non-comic book show that got axed. So it was very interesting. And I am going to have him on in the next couple of months.
Well, if you ask him, it'd be cool to get the lowdown on what they think happened with Batgirl.
Yeah, I will say really quick. I will say he is now an independent film director. That's how I met him. And Romy was the lead in his film. Is the lead in his film. They just completed it, and it's a fantastic comedy. So, we're gonna talk about that, and then we'll kind of go over what I can and can't ask.
Yeah,
but
well,
that's fair. That's fair.
The lowdown on it, anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to. We're not trying to get anyone in trouble, but it's like, hey, what can you tell us? What can you talk to us about?
Yeah,
Leslie, this whole Leslie Grace and Batgirl thing, because there was some interesting insight he had.
Yeah. Well, that takes us off to our next topic,
Right.
which I know, Tom, you want to sort of talk a little bit about. Not specifically you, but you were mentioning it, which is
I alluded to it. Yeah.
New comments by DC Studios head, because obviously it's not just James Gunn's like the front man, but Peter Safran is co-CEO, co-head. Has came out and said Batgirl shelving it was the right decision, and says DC Studios it would have hurt DC. Basically, it was unreleasable. So let's just quickly have a rundown of this. Obviously, you've heard that side of it from Leslie Grace, talking about the fire and the action, and the fire with practical action, and the practical fire with that action, just to bring that right home. But now we have further comment, which is obviously from Peter Safran. So Warner Brothers faced controversy when they axed Batgirl. I said at the time, I was the only person saying it. I had a source that had seen the film and said it was garbage. They said it was utter garbage. And I came out and was like, look, everyone saying that the test screening was good is a liar. It's garbage. And I got so much flack for it. And then a few months later, it was completely canned. And I was like, oh, well, I was fucking right, wasn't I? I was the only one saying it. Anyway. But anyway, we have this comment. I have this comment from Peter Safran. Look, when I'm right, I'm right. From Peter Safran, it says, Batgirl is a character that inevitably we will include in our story. On the Batgirl front, it's not about late in the process of the film getting cancelled. I saw the movie, and there are a lot of incredibly talented people in front of and behind the camera on that film. But the film was not releasable. And it happens sometimes. That film was not releasable. I like how he says that twice. Just drive it home.
Drive that stake in.
We really is. But that film was not releasable. And it happens sometimes. That film was not releasable. Just twist that blade. I actually think that President and CEO of Warner Brothers, David Zaslav, and the team made a very bold and courageous decision to cancel it because it would have hurt DC. It would have hurt those people involved. We did it for your benefit. I think that they really stood up to support DC. The characters, the story, the quality of all that. I spoke to Adil and Bilal, the directors, last week. We were chatting. We'd love to be in business with all those folks. Christina Hodson wrote it. Terrible writer. Some people are already back in business with us. As I said, a lot of talented people were involved. But the film was just not releasable. That's the third time he said it. It would not have been able to compete in the theatrical marketplace. It was built for the small screen. So again, I think it was not an easy decision, but they made the right decision by shelving it. Thoughts, Tom?
Yeah, as we had said before, they canned this thing because it had a chance of making, of really hurting the DC universe, not only of what was upcoming, because clearly there's a separation there, but what is already out there and possibly, ruining whatever chances the DC universe has of a reboot at this point, I guess. I mean, am I surprised? No. But I mean, going back to the whole question of whether or not it'll see the light of day kind of thing we were talking about before, at this point, just about everybody else involved has moved on to bigger and better things anyway. So I don't feel bad for anybody involved. We just got an announcement this morning that Bad Boys 4 is now still going ahead, and I'd assume that the directors who directed this Batgirl will be directing that one too, since they directed the third one. They'd been attached to it already before this official announcement of it being back on, or whatever you want to call it. Brendan Fraser, as we just mentioned, has kind of gotten his comeback. I mean, really the only person who got the Shaft in this situation would be the main star, and they've
Well, I
already
think
said
she's
that she's
doing
kind of getting
doing other
other
things, isn't she?
chances. So yeah, like again, I don't feel sorry for it, but and Michael Keaton got paid, so like. I heard he got a nice fat payday for this, so I doubt he can. And he even flat out said, he doesn't really care because he doesn't watch these things anyway. So, you know, I mean, I'm sure he's fine with it. In fact, it probably is better for him that it didn't come out. So I think at the end of the day, it's better for everybody involved. Everybody, I mean, from top to bottom, that this thing didn't come out. I mean, people are going to clamor for it for years and years and years, but it's going to be one of those things when it finally does leak out, like we said earlier. It's not going to be what everybody thought it was going to be. It's going to be like, Mystery Science Theater 3000 level type shit, probably. And we're going to see why it was shelved.
Well, I mean, it was initially made as an HBO Max film.
Exactly.
So,
beyond that, I mean, yeah.
Which is interesting, actually, when you look at it from that perspective, because the quality that you saw in that and that budget blew to like $90 million. It'll be interesting to see what they create now for HBO Max and James Gunn, if it's going to be of a similar quality, even if it has a similar budget, because if it does, that's not good either, actually.
Yeah, I mean, but it looks like the upcoming slate they got right now, it looks very budget conscious in comparison to something like this.
True.
Like even at a $90 million budget, if this thing was unwatchable, granted, $10 million of that reportedly was for Michael Keaton, so you had $80 million you spent on the rest of the cast and production. I mean, yeah.
I can't imagine Fraser commands a big budget.
Not yet at that point, because this was even
days.
Before he'd had his little comeback. So I mean, he'd probably been lucky to get scale times 2 or 3, probably, maybe $1 million.
Yeah, that's true. Paulie, what do you think about hearing this? Because obviously Leslie Grace is your gal. So what do you think about hearing this?
Man, I was pulling stories and articles that just came down the wire for you guys. So I really was letting you guys run with that.
Well,
I think it's pretty much all we all were kind of figuring this already, right? I mean,
kind of the same stuff, right? Yeah.
It just confirms what we had thought.
Yeah, I mean, it is literally just saying it was unreleasable. It wasn't good. It was unreleasable. It happens, but everyone's talented. I mean, yeah,
absolutely. If it was unreleasable, maybe it was a really bad script and you had really good actors saying and doing really stupid things. Would not be the first time. It's really hard to elevate bad material. And that lead always gets the full brunt. So, that's another saving grace for Leslie's career. Maybe they were thinking though, like one of the, besides the tax write-off, is like, you know what, this could ruin her career as well.
Yeah, it's true.
It might be that bad. And maybe the one-on-one combat fights were cool, but she's also got to walk around and talk, and and maybe it was just they're like, they're putting out so many fires.
Yeah,
they were putting out so many fires, man. So yeah, that's my take.
Yeah. All right. Well, we just got some super chats just came in. So we'll just get to them really quick. If you want to support the show, please do drop in a super chat, ladies and gents, or become a channel member. There's loads of ways to support the show. So we just scroll up. I sent you a comment as well there, Paulie, in the private chat, just as an FYI.
Okay.
So Gary for £5 says, since Marvel pushed female Black Panther after what happened to Chadwick, do you think they will use Jeremy's accident to push female Hawkeye sooner? Well, no, not yet. I don't know. That's a tricky one, because you'd think that they, out of all their shows that they announced, you'd think that they would have announced Hawkeye season 2. But maybe there's going to be a movie instead. I don't know. Thoughts, Tom, on this?
I
mean, they definitely took advantage of Chadwick.
I think that Jeremy's days as Hawkeye were already kind of numbered as it was.
Yeah, agree. Well, they
To
were
be
setting up in
honest,
Hawkeye.
yeah, I was gonna
Anyway.
say. So at this point, he's already beat to hell as Hawkeye. I don't think it's gonna affect one way or the other.
Not going to expedite it, basically. You just think that
if it wasn't already the plan, because what's her face? I think isn't she set to show up in? Is it Secret Wars or one of those upcoming shows? I can't remember which, but
one of them.
Yeah, I can't remember which, but like she's supposed to be in it, so they've already kind of passed the baton to her.
Yeah. We've got another super chat from
Echo.
No...
That's what she's. I think she's definitely an Echo. But anyway.
that makes sense. We've got a super chat from No Bad Ideas, Just Stupid Ones for £17.99. Thank you so much. It says, Yo, my dudes, to be honest, I'm not a fan of the Superman title. They should call Superman Above and Beyond or All-Star or something else, to be honest. I'm okay with it, not a fan of it. I agree.
Think I honestly, No Bad Ideas. I would have been just fine with it just being called Superman. To be honest, we haven't had a movie called Superman in, well, technically forever, because the original film's called Superman the movie. That is its actual name. So we've never actually had a technical film called Superman, but to be real, we haven't had a movie since 1978 that donned that title.
The naming conventions for these superhero films has gotten a bit ridiculous.
I think the legacy has to do with what's going to tie into Supergirl, because if you listen to what James had to say about what Superman's about, he kind of has Supergirl as a juxtaposed story to him. So I have a feeling they're setting up like a sequel to both of them will be those two finally meeting. And or it will happen in her film, and that's the whole thing is, she's got a more cynical look on things compared to Clark. And it'll be about those two butting heads with similar powers and all that kind of business. But she's his only tie to his past and, so on and so forth. And depending on which version of the story they go with, she may have guilt over the fact that she was supposed to raise him and all that business. So again, it all depends. I think that has more to do with it than anything, but I'm just spitting in the wind here with that.
Yeah, Paulie, do you have any thoughts on the naming convention of these superhero films for Superman and stuff like
that? No.
Legacy
Superman Legacy?
Yeah.
No, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it would be nice if they just Superman.
So like Tom says, just Superman. It would
OG,
be good, actually.
Let's go OG.
It would kind of make more of a statement too that we're rebooting this thing. Because I was going through all of Peter Safran's statements here, and he reiterated again that the DCU starts with Superman, and the movies they listed in the one thing were everything after Superman. So I mean, if you're gonna do it that way. Just be like, make a statement, say, it's called Superman, nothing else, nothing more, nothing less.
New DCU Superman, something proper blatant, I guess.
Pretty blatant.
Gary for £2 says, I'm still waiting for a Slipknot spin-off from DC. Ugh, goodness me. Yeah, that would be fun, I guess.
Thank you for your super chat.
Larry Quadwitz for $20 says, hey, Mr. H. Paulie and Tom. Saw Infinity Pool Friday and Sweet Fancy Moses. It was totally nuts. The acting was superb, especially Mia Goth. I'm still feeling haunted by it. It might be too graphic for some, but not you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
I like my gore, so I will have to check it out. I always said I will anyway. So interesting that you liked it, though. That's a good sign. Good sign.
I've been hearing things about it. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
I've been hearing things about it.
It's very mixed, is what I've heard.
Very mixed. And we're big fans of Mia, so I think we're and Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård. I think we're gonna go see it in the theater. We're gonna try to get out there.
I'd like to be able to see it in the theater if I can. I will say as well, on Friday I'm gonna go watch Knock at the Cabin.
So she wants to see that too. Yeah, the horror thing. Anything
I like
horror.
Batista looks good in that. Like he looks like he's putting in a good performance.
Me and Batista, man.
What?
No, I'm not a believer yet. I still think he's a one note kind of guy. But
nah, man, he looked
prove me
that trailer. I reckon he will.
Trailer's a trailer, man. Come on now.
Well, yeah, obviously,
And it's Shamalama Ding Dong. I mean, that could go south real quick.
Well, he's adapting a book, isn't he? Right, so that's different. You are right; it could go south real quick, but it's not his original works.
Okay, you know what? But was Old his original work, or wasn't that adapted?
That was adapted. Yeah, true. All right, fair enough. Look,
hey,
I'm not saying it's going to be good, mate. All right, I'm just saying like there's a difference to his other works. That's the only thing I'm saying.
Yeah, and
I agree.
fucking
Shamalama Ding Dong's he's crap.
Look at it looks all right. It looks all right.
Like 3 good movies. Sixth Sense.
It looks okay. There was that one shot where they're looking at the sky and there's a fallen airplane. I mean, they're really doing that a lot in a lot of stuff lately.
True.
Yeah, it could be fantastic.
The wave looks cool. So at least there's that.
So you're gonna see that this weekend. Okay.
Friday, hopefully. It's
Okay.
out on Friday. I got to set some time. I've been catching up on movies. I watched The Menu this week.
Yes.
Really like The Menu. That was so very that's Ralph Fiennes finally doing some good acting again.
It's been years.
And such a layered performance, and that was so good. I don't want this to become a Menu review, but that was a great film.
I saw it twice.
It's a film that's definitely not really meant for the big screen. I don't really know why it was made with such good actors. Like, it's a great film, but you think to yourself, like, how much money they would have spent on it, marketing it. It's a weird film to put out in theaters in this era.
Yeah, because basically
it would have looked good in theaters.
Yeah, it's one location, which is the dining hall / kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, the majority of the film, and it's a lot of character. A lot of characters, but they're basically sitting at the tables. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, it's the screenplay is fantastic, and the filmmaking was fantastic.
Beautifully shot, and what an expertly written film as well, like amuse bouche. I mean, someone's mess and stuff like this. Like, you just God. Each chapter of the film is a part of the menu. The menu is a concept without everything happening. The concept doesn't work. You're just like, it's beautifully put together film. Beautiful.
So you're gonna review that? Is that video coming out?
I mean,
or no?
I don't know. There are some films you get to a little bit too late, whether it's worthwhile doing as a separate review or not. I mean, I might just clip this as a
yeah. I mean, if that's the case, I can go on.
Yeah, I mean, go on. Definitely. I mean, my thoughts are like just as a quick mini review, I guess, is that it was so good to see. Like, I think people genuinely forget how good of an actor Ralph Fiennes is, because the last bigger films he was playing M in the James Bond films, right? And he was sort of a bit fat and washed up, and he wasn't really putting in a great performance there. Like, it was fine, but he's not shone in a film for some time, and he is the star of this. You have Anya Taylor-Joy, but she's not the star. It is genuinely Ralph Fiennes' movie, and I think they sort of use this. This is obviously a film which they were sort of releasing because of Anya Taylor-Joy and her sort of rising to prominence and stuff like this. But it's not this. Like, this is a Ralph Fiennes film, and he was so very good in this. And who's the guy? Is it Nicholas Hoult? Is that the actor? I think it's
Nicholas Hoult, John Leguizamo.
It was funny seeing John Leguizamo
Janet
in
McTeer.
there. There's so many good actors.
Incredible cast. I forget the lady who was the assistant, the Asian actress. Wow.
Yes, she was. I can't remember. Yeah, she was very, very good.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was such a. So we can't discuss too much without getting into spoilers, and because it's live, I don't want to talk spoilers. But the thing about it is that it's an intentionally. It's almost like an intentionally pretentious film in certain areas because of the sort of subtext of the film itself and what it's depicting. And there's that line that I'm not going to say it verbatim. I'll paraphrase it, but the line which really stuck out to me was how Ralph Fiennes is lamenting his career and how he's let his skill set get to a to a level at which the only people that can afford it can't appreciate it, and how that just destroys him. And you're just like, fucking hell, get to a level where the food he creates, only people can afford it who don't appreciate it. You're just like, wow, like what a sick existence that would have on someone that fixates on their craft so much in that way. It was powerful. It was a good film. Anyway, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean,
impromptu review.
Yeah. So the thing with the menu is it's script, it's story. So if you like strong characters, right there. If there's a bit of a suspense, bit of thriller, darkness. If you love food, if you've ever worked in the food service industry, especially like mid to high level restaurants at any time, this is fantastic because it talks a lot of shit about that whole world. I really was really shocked that it did not get a nomination, at least for best original screenplay.
Yes.
And Glass Onion did. I think Glass Onion is totally kind of like just so full of itself. Here it is, but it doesn't take itself seriously. Well, it doesn't take itself seriously, and it's like we're gonna. Oh, I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's a setup there. It's part when it talks about the menu, the movie is done in these courses as you're eating. Yeah, really cool.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
really cool. The courses were the chapters of the film almost. That is very good. That closing shot as well.
Yeah.
God damn.
Ooh, yes. Okay, yeah. And last two things. Spoiler. They get to kill John Leguizamo again, which is cool because they did that in Violent Night.
You just like seeing him die.
He's such a douche in the film. I'm like, yes, that was great. And then at the end, you're gonna want to go eat a cheeseburger. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching our impromptu review of the menu. Back to DC. Ezra Miller. James Gunn calls The Flash one of the greatest superhero movies ever. Ezra Miller's DC future is decided after his recovery. Tom, sorry, we just went off on a bit of a tangent there. Have you read any of this stuff, mate? Have you heard about any of this stuff?
Yeah, this is some of the stuff. And this is what I was trying to say. There's a lot of mixed signals and mixed messages in a lot of things they're saying compared to what Zaslav had said, compared to things they're saying now. It's things they've said even in this announcement itself. When it comes to Ezra, this sounds like a political answer. That's the other thing I was trying to say. This does not sound like they're committed to him in any way, shape, or form, but you can read into it whatever the fuck you want. That's what I'm saying. And that's with a lot of this today. Again, that's my only opinion on it. Do I think they're going to go forward with him? No. I think this is a complete reset. I think there's going to be a new Flash 5 years from now. So,
yeah, I hope so. I hope so because I'm not for cancel culture, but if you're looking at people that deserve to go and you're looking about consistency and how you act on things, I mean, Ezra Miller should be in prison at this point, right? Like, like he's done some pretty heinous things. He definitely shouldn't be starring in films where he's banking a paycheck of tens of millions of dollars. That's for sure. He launched a chair at a woman's head and cracked her skull open. He's not exactly a good guy. He was videoed, this is even before the Flash stuff, he was videoed choke slamming a woman in Iceland.
right.
It's not alleged. It's a fucking video of it. It annoys me when everyone goes, oh, allegedly he did this. No, there's a video of it. You can see it. He did it. It's not alleged. He did it.
No, you're right. The only reason he doesn't have more shit on his record at this point is just because all these charges have been dropped in all these other countries and places under the assumption from what I read is that he would just freaking leave and never come back, right? It's that whole kind of like, as long as you leave and don't come back, we won't do anything. And that's the thing is they're ignoring that when they put, when they did this whole thing with his recent deal with the felony, I knew he wasn't going to get nothing more than a slap on the hand with that. I mean, not just because of who he is, as far as like, in the club of they thems, just because he's a movie star in general.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something at that point. Like, that's the thing. He doesn't have any of the shit showing up on his record, right? Like, that's the problem. And if they could make something stick on his record that actually was some kind of weight, then that would outweigh the they them part to be able to just totally cut ties with this kid. I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, do I think he should not be an actor at all? Do I think the stuff that he's done constitutes that? That's up for debate. But I mean, as far as like,
quite frankly, but
right, that, like, again, I'm not going to speak to that
opinion.
part. But should he be a part of something like The Flash, which is kind of a quote unquote family kind of IP franchise thing? No, right? Like, you wouldn't put him in a fucking Disney movie, would you?
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thing, is they wouldn't even touch him with a 10-foot pole right now, probably. So why the hell would you if you're Warner Brothers? And Disney's woke as woke could be. So I think this is a political answer. I could be wrong, but at this point, the way they're going with this reboot thing, I just see it as, they don't want to say they're totally cutting ties with this guy right now.
Well, so yeah, we'll get your thoughts in a second, Paulie, my dude. But this is the statement anyway. You know this. It says Ezra is completely committed to his recovery. Safran said, and we are fully supportive of that journey that he's on right now. When the time is right, when he feels like he's ready to have the discussion, we'll all figure out what the best path forward is. But right now, he is completely focused on his recovery. And in our conversations with him over the last couple of months, it feels like he's making enormous progress.
Right. And that could also, I mean, you can interpret that one of two ways. That means either they're committed to him or they're committed to not telling him shit until he's done with this recovery. That's the last thing you want to tell somebody who's in the middle of recovery. I mean, Paulie, I don't know if you want to speak to that at all from that perspective, but I mean, I don't know. It's something better to discuss after the fact than it is while he's in the midst of.
Well, yeah. I mean, what do you think, Paulie? What do you think?
I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah,
I have a lot of thoughts. First of all, I agree. The Safran statement is very political, very safe. Wait and see, right? So that's pretty obvious. Okay, now, chat, you guys are gonna come after me, but I'm just gonna lay it on how it is. Ezra Miller is not going anywhere. Let me say it again. Ezra Miller is not going anywhere.
In what way? You got to clarify.
Hold on. Let me keep. I've been waiting. I got thoughts. Let me get them all out. Okay. They protect their own. He's part of a class that they can protect for only so long. Now, let me continue by saying this. Then there's a big caveat. Ezra Miller is not going anywhere. If is not going anywhere as long he doesn't keep effing up between now and June, right? He's staying out of the limelight. He's being good. Whether he's really doing rehab, all that stuff, that's a whole different issue. Okay, they're gonna keep him out of the limelight, keep him out of trouble. You stay out of trouble, and if this film is a hit, then we'll talk. And and if it's a hit, he ain't going anywhere. If he stays out of trouble, he's not going anywhere. Okay, and let me just speculate here. Those people have been paid off. All the people who he's got in trouble with and smacked around, all that stuff, they're taken care of. That's just the way Hollywood works.
Right.
Okay, now I said that. They can only protect him for so long. As long as he stays out of trouble, homeboy ain't going anywhere. I'm not saying I think that's good. I'm just saying that's how
I have a hard time disagreeing with you, Paulie. That's what I was saying. Until they can make something stick. Yeah, until they can make something stick that's bigger than his they-them status. Yeah.
Right. Now, they obviously believe in this so much, because it must be a really good film, and it must be a really good performance in their eyes. Why else wouldn't they have recasted, I don't know what, because it's probably a great film. Muschietti can deliver. Okay. And listen, Safran and Gunn, they don't want any more trouble going forward. So this guy is probably really, really, it's like, go do what you got to do. But if we hear one more thing, you're done. You're done. We're the new guys, so we're gonna give you that. Because they gave Gunn that, and Safran has always worked with a lot of different creative types. We're gonna give you this, and that's it. So some of what I just said is speculation, but a lot of what I said is just that's just how Hollywood operates, for good or bad. Okay,
Yeah.
and it operates too with celebrities and directors that you have known and love in the past. So this is nothing. This is also nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Hollywood has always been connected to scandal. And it's even in the film Babylon. It's fantastic on how they touch on that. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Good thoughts, Paulie.
Oh,
Good thoughts. Let's get to other people's thoughts with a super chat. So the Norwegian Kryptonian says, I like the idea that they're making Supergirl and Superman different characters and not just making Kara a cheaper copy of Superman like the CW shows. I agree.
It's the Tom King part is the issue.
Yes. Here. Yeah. You are right. Like I think that's good, but yeah.
Yeah, because we were discussing this earlier, and I kind of said you could have a kind of interesting take on the two with the juxtaposition and all that, but depends. Considering he said, "Oh, I thought this was the best story written last year or whatever," with Tom King involved. It was
yeah, that was a bit odd. That was a bit of a dumb thing to say, but yeah. Right. Okay. So we've got one more topic, real quick, for DC before we shuffle on to something hilarious. Tom, what do you think about this, mate? The Batman Part 2, 2025 release date. What do you mean it is what it is? Come on.
What? I never said. I have never once said it was not going to happen. My confusion is this. A lot of this, and this is what I was talking about, the mixed messaging today. They have been going on and on for the last couple of weeks and months about this being a big reboot, and that they weren't going to have a bunch of multiple timelines, right? Everything was supposed to connect. And Zaslav himself even said, we're not going to have a bunch of Batmen.
Yeah, true.
But yet this still gets the go-ahead. All right. It must have did okay on HBO Max. That's all I got to say. Because at the times when I was talking to people, it was a lot of, we'll see. That was a lot of what I got. And he didn't mention it in his shit today either. So, I mean, outside of one time. So,
well, yeah, but I mean, he's announcing. Yeah, but he didn't.
That's the thing is, I want to see this press conference because they keep talking about a press event, but I can't find anything outside of the original Entertainment Weekly because I don't know if this will be the same thing. Like I clicked on the one that I found that was similar to this write up, and it keeps taking me to an Entertainment Weekly link. So it's like I want to see this press conference because they talked about a lot of things, and that's where all these Safran comments are coming from. So this is one solid conference. Where is it? Like, I want to see it. I want to hear it.
No, I agree.
Again, in this stake, them giving it in theaters, that's good for you guys who watched it on HBO Max endlessly. You got what you wish. It's still coming, evidently. So,
well, okay. I like the Batman, so I'm happy about it.
I didn't like it, and I'm more upset because I wish I had something to look forward to with this other new Batman project, but I don't. So now there's two Batman projects I have nothing to look forward to with.
Tom, you didn't like the Batman?
I fucking hated it. I think it's the worst Batman movie ever made. Worse than Batman and Robin.
I'm so shocked, Tom. I honestly thought you loved it.
Fucking hated it, and you know it.
Of course it did. Everyone with a pulse knows you hated it.
Yeah, so bad.
But anyway, Robert Pattinson's Batman return is set as Warner Brothers has announced. Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 will open in theaters on October 3rd, 2025. Additional information, including a plot synopsis, remains under wraps for now. James Gunn and Peter Safran confirmed The Batman Part 2 release date during a press event on the Warner Brothers lot on January 30th. So yesterday. So it's interesting. 2025 will be Superman Legacy and the Batman Part 2 being released in the same year. So that's them, I guess, really fleshing out the whole DC Elseworlds tag, trying to see whether that actually works or not in the same year. I mean, yeah. What do you think? I mean, Paulie, what do you think of this? Batman Part 2 released in 2025. Did you like the Batman? Are you keen on this? What do you think?
Well,
Tom didn't like the Batman, if you didn't know, Paulie. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, we've had we did a review on it, didn't we, when we both got out of the
Yeah.
theater? Yeah. And I saw it then I saw it a second time with at a screening with a bunch of producers. And it was really interesting talking to them because I think everyone loved the first hour, but just thought last one.
Dragged. It definitely dragged. They should have shaved off some time on that.
Right. And it was, so a little self-indulgent. But I guess it made enough money, and they seem to like Matt, so I'm not surprised. And Pattinson is a name, I guess.
So
So
you're not riveted. You're not super.
No, it looked good cinematography. It sounded good, but it was kind of like these guys were kind of the dumbest detective. They wanted, we're gonna make it more of a dark detective. These guys ended up being dumb detectives for like almost 3 hours. They couldn't figure it out, and then the Penguin told them what it was in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, you're not.
So that's what I was part of my aggravation with it. I was screaming at the screen. I'm like, Batman, what are you doing? You just, there's more to this. Like I was getting like agitated by the movie.
Yeah,
the first hour was okay. You're right. Like it was all right, and then all of a sudden you start getting agitated by it. It's just like,
yeah, and then it becomes like kind of like Super Batman towards the end, where he's like, the savior,
Well, and it was a lot of the same stuff we saw in Batman
Very
Begins.
Strange.
Yeah, I still liked it.
Because it was, the city was getting tore apart and all that kind of business. But yeah.
I think
I get why people like it, but
Catwoman, love that casting. That was great. Bang on for that casting. That was really good.
I hope you're being sarcastic there.
No, I'm not. I thought she made a really good Catwoman.
She could have been anybody. She the fact that she was Catwoman didn't.
I liked it. Anyway, Gary for £5 says, we'll just shuffle on. It says the list of which celebrities kept going to Epstein Island came out, and Gunn is on that list. So what happens to DC if someone Me Too's him? Was he on that list?
There's a lot of people on that list.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, I did not know that. I took a little bit of a look at on that kind of stuff. Right.
I look at it this way: if somebody was going to Me Too James Gunn, they would have when he was at his weakest point, when he got shit canned from Disney.
Yeah, that's true.
And all that business.
That is true. Now we're going to move on to our next topic, Tom, which you can definitely stay for because you'll enjoy this one. But it's look at that! Look at lovely Grogu there, everyone.
Drag shows now.
It's Grogay. Grey.
That works.
Grogay. Drag shows at Star Wars Celebration. This is legitimately a thing. I fucking don't understand it. It's so weird. I don't understand it.
Bob Iger's back.
Yeah. So I've done a video about this on the main channel. It's released now. And look, at the end of the day, let me just, I'll run through exactly what it is in a minute. But at the end of the day, we don't know, and this is important to say, we don't actually know whether this will be inappropriate. We don't know that. However, and I will say this, the overwhelming majority of these things are inappropriate for kids, right? We have a wealth of history of these things now, and they are always inappropriate for children.
Well, and the
They
same
always are.
members of the community will come out and say the same thing.
Yeah, but it's
Right.
not just that either.
Don't bring
right?
your kid to a gay pride parade.
Yeah,
Don't,
but
you know,
but it's
you wouldn't take
also
your kid to a regular strip club. Why would you have it at a
but it's not just that, right? It's the fact that they are wasting a whole panel about fucking drag shows at Star Wars Celebration. Give me something else. Like, show me. Have a panel with the writers. Have a panel with the concept artists. Have a panel with the creature effects. Like, who cares? The way they phrase this, and I'll get to it in a minute because it's lunacy, is like this is a big thing entrenched in Star Wars. Drag is entrenched in Star Wars. That's literally what they're trying to claim. What? Give me something else that we could all actually enjoy, that's actually inherently good, and is intrinsic to Star Wars. Not a bloody drag show, for goodness sake. It doesn't make any sense. So look, aka the Gay Jedi on Twitter, yeah, that's legit what he's called, announced that the Walt Disney Company, Lucasfilm, and Star Wars approved his drag panel titled "Star Wars is a Drag: Exploring Star Wars Through the Art of Drag" for the upcoming Star Wars Celebration in London this year. So he wrote, "I am humbled, grateful, and over the forest moons to announce that my Star Wars Celebration panel with Pencil Scrathen and David Sigurani, titled Star Wars as a Drag, Exploring Star Wars Through the Art of Drag, has been officially approved. We can't wait to share this with you all." Wait, it gets more mental. I promise. Accompanying the announcement, the user also included a more detailed description of what the panel will be. This is where we just jumped the fucking shark, by the way. "The long and rich history of drag has graced the world with entertainment, culture, political action, and so much more. It is no wonder, then, that today the art form has reached such a cultural significance that the truths and concepts of drag performance permeate countless aspects of our daily lives, including Star Wars." Well, I'm just going to say, I'm wearing normal clothes, all right? I'm not in drag right now. My daily life does not involve drag, okay? I'm sure it doesn't you either, Tom or Paulie. I'm fairly certain it doesn't permeate everyone's daily life. He continued.
Well, there was that day in college, I guess.
Oh dear. Anyway, so he continues.
I'm kidding. I didn't go to college.
There's some of Star Wars's very best characters embody various core principles of drag. This is where it's mental. I don't understand. Whether it's Din Djarin's drag as personal expression and self-discovery. Honestly, your guess is as fucking good as mine. I don't understand. Asajj Ventress's drag as queer rebellion, or Padme Amidala's drag as self-empowerment. The relevance of drag even spills out the pages and screens of Star Wars and flows through the fandom itself through hobbies like cosplay. No, mate, that's cosplay. Drag and cosplay are two entirely different things. What is this? What? While taking an introductory look at the history and function of drag in our world today, let's also explore its thematic resonance and influential presence in everyone's favourite far, far away galaxy. This has absolutely no relevance to Star Wars in any way, shape, or form. I mean, that Gay Jedi, apply for the Olympics, mate, because your mental gymnastics are insane.
I wish I could say I was surprised, but
I am.
No, didn't they have like a trans person at the last Star Wars Celebration or Disney's presentation thing here?
Doing what?
A couple
Though? There's
months
nothing wrong
back.
with
It was some game show thing.
Though?
It was some game
but,
show thing, but it was still from Disney, and it was on their stage, and it was part of their live presentation thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's not misconstrue it, right? There's nothing wrong with.
But no, but again, like I wish I could say I was surprised, but yeah.
Stop. Let me address that point first and foremost, because that's a really important distinction to make, right? There's nothing wrong with a trans person being a presenter for Star Wars. That's fine. But there is a problem with people trying to insert drag and say that there's an intrinsic element of drag within Star Wars. They're not the same. That doesn't make any sense at all. There's a complete differentiation between just a trans presenter. Nothing wrong with that. There's actually no issue with that at all.
Okay, maybe let me
there isn't.
rephrase it. Okay, then, because it was
I don't
probably
know what it
more or
was.
less somebody who looked like they were in drag than more than trans. I was trying to
Right,
be
well,
more
then that's
politically
different.
correct.
Well, don't be.
And again,
'Cause
it
we
was
need to-
something we all pointed out when it happened, and we're just like, "What the fuck is this shit?" I've been trying to find a picture of this so you know what I was talking about, but
Right.
I can't right now, of course. But
But
I'm trying to find it, but
this is just fucking
'cause
nonsense.
I don't remember what it was for. But
This is just, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just utter nonsense. Like, all you're doing is shoehorning Star Wars into drag and drag into Star Wars to put on a drag panel. It has no relevance on Star Wars remotely. Absolutely remotely. This is a Star Wars celebration. It's a waste of a panel. Give me a panel about concept art. Give me a panel about creature design. Give me a panel with the writers.
okay, here's, I believe, what I was talking about.
Doesn't make any sense. Are you sharing it?
Hang on here. Let me double check to make sure that I'm sharing the right thing. Yeah, I think this is it because it would have been. Well, I think this is who it was on the stage, but it was something like this. I think it was this person who was the presenter I was talking about in the middle here.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, this has absolutely no relevance to Star Wars at all. It doesn't make any sense. Absolutely no sense. Paulie, what are your thoughts on this, mate?
Yeah, I have some thoughts.
Good. That's what I asked. Good.
Yeah. First thought is they're doing just for, to get some attention, that that they're kind of still relevant as far as Star Wars Celebration. And maybe there's a small loud group that's been pushing for this. We need to have our own panel. And fine, have your panel. I don't know if there's going to be an age restriction, which I think speaks to this other stuff that we're going to talk about with The Last of Us.
Yeah.
That the more you kind of replace your core values with kind of virtue signaling and your politics, that this is what you get, unfortunately. And you can't decipher, whether they're doing something that's coming from a good place. As far as drag being art, I actually agree. Having gone to lots of drag shows, with adults.
Yeah, there's a time and a place. There's an audience
With adults,
Well,
with
that's a little bit what I was trying to
different
make,
thing.
yeah.
With burlesque, they have the drag queen bingos and the brunches. I mean, those are a lot of fun. Very entertaining, and never did I
Adult.
see yes, all adults. Yep.
Yeah, is the important
entertainment, adult entertainment, which is so, but to so. And I know a lot of these people put a lot of work into their business. Who am I to say anything? But that's different than again, what is the age restriction? What is going on?
As Star Wars Celebration. So I mean, some of this stuff will be live. So, I mean, I think it is live. I think it's recorded. There will be children in attendance,
right? It's a panel. So
yeah, there's people in attendance, and they will be children as well. Absolutely, they will be.
Right. Well, I mean, we're gonna find out. But again, it just goes back to this: when you replace your principles and values, and replace this and make this your religion, as far as virtue signaling, political stances. And really, what does that have? At the end of the day, what does that have to do with Star Wars? What does that have to do with with all this stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just don't, I don't see it ending right. You're
But that's
you're you're just all it's doing is polarizing more and more people, more and more communities.
yeah,
Whereas the ones that might have been tolerant and open to being supportive, it's like, I can't support this, I can't
yeah,
support that. You know,
exactly, and that's
so, yeah.
why I had to jump in there and be like, look, there is nothing wrong with a trans person being a presenter for Star Wars, because they are there being a presenter for Star Wars. Obviously, you'll be further clarified, Tom. So we've covered that, but that's the important distinction there, isn't it? Someone can just exist doing their normal day-to-day life whilst also doing normal jobs and being just a normal person doing normal things. This is narcissism. This isn't about Star Wars. This is about them trying to fit drag into Star Wars for some weird reason. It's just bizarre. It doesn't, this has no place there. It's just not, it's
Well, and I
bizarre.
wasn't even trying to say the other thing at all. I'm talking about Disney in general as a family company should not even, this is not even something that should be on their plate. Exactly.
No, it
Like,
shouldn't.
that's my whole
No.
point. So this is not, that's what I meant by this is not something that surprises me in the least, right? And when Iger came back, I knew this was going to be more of what we got from before, right? They even said he's doubling down on this crap. Feige said they're doubling down on this crap. All of them have said it. Look, and again, I
Yeah.
have no problems with, like, I'm with Paulie. I'm a huge fan of like John Waters and a lot of other things, so I have no problem with drag shows.
Time and a place.
Time and a place, though. And as I said when we started out this conversation, many people in the community themselves will tell you, drag shows and, gay pride parades and these other places are not a place for children. Why? Because they are 9 times out of 10 about sexual expression, a thing that a child should not be a part of yet.
In any way, shape, or form.
Exactly. Until they're old enough to understand that's not where they should be,
Yeah.
I will say also too that I know that the Empire Strips Back, which I've gone and seen, is really popular. It's like a touring burlesque show now. So maybe this is kind of an extension of that. It's like, well, look, this is going on. Here's what we want to do. We want to make drag art, and so I'm almost saying like, well, anyone can pitch an idea for a panel. Like you could pitch one, I could pitch one. Like to Disney, to Star Wars Celebration. So I'm thinking like this person wrote it up, the Gay Jedi, like wrote up the description and everything. So where are you coming from this with this Gay Jedi? And if there is a small audience that you're trying to do this for, that's part of the Star Wars, fandom, cool. What are you going to do? What's involved in the panel, and if it's something that's going to be really risque, are you going to have an age limit?
That's another good point, Paulie. Yeah, age limit.
It's good. It's good there's nothing wrong with setting these requirements. It shows that we're part of a civilized society where not everyone agrees and thinks like everyone else. We should and need to be respectful and to exercise those things. It's not all, it's not always a pleasant thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do, but that's the price we pay of living in a free world, that we're all trying to be a part of. Well, it's like, okay, well, I really I'm not into to a gay panel, but I can't say no. That's not my place. I don't want to be that. But what's involved, or and I'm not saying me personally. I'm just saying like I'm actually I probably wouldn't go. So yeah, but I think I'm putting more thought and compassion into probably Mr. Gay Jedi and his supporters are, because they probably don't give a shit, and they probably want to, like, we're gonna be here, we're gonna do our thing, we don't care who we offend, and that's not cool.
It's a very narcissistic endeavor, basically.
I'm assuming and I shouldn't, but I'm just
Well, I mean,
to be clear, I'd react the same way as if they announced like a Chippendale or Playboy Bunny panel that was going to be the same kind of thing or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
why?
Well, I mean, they have revealed something of what it's about, right? And like, it doesn't make any sense. So naturally, you would assume that it is a little bit shoehorned in. So I don't think that's wrong to do.
Now, if you have
I don't think it's
Chippendales
wrong to
dancing with
assume.
Chippendale, then I might see an argument.
Yeah.
That was
But
a joke.
it's
Kids.
just,
That was a joke, for fuck's sake.
I mean, they literally say, while taking an introductory look at the history and function of drag in our world today, let's also explore its thematic resonance and influential presence in Star Wars. I mean, that's what it's about.
It's kind of a reach there. I mean, because you're talking
It's
costumes.
a massive reach.
Right, you're talking costumes.
Fucking
And
film.
let me just go with it. Okay, so I'm assuming Gay Jedi. I'm assuming that you mean that the
Can you
costumers.
stop saying that?
Oh, wasn't that his name?
Yeah, it is, but it just makes me laugh.
Okay.
I know
Listen,
I'm being immature, but it's funny.
listen,
Gay
G
Jedi.
Jedi.
Listen, Gay Jedi. I'm like, fuck
Listen,
you
G
know.
Jedi. I'm assuming you have knowledge I don't, like the costumers of Star Wars, or its creators are gay. Okay, I'm gonna go with it. And that the costumes and everything is it's coming from a drag point of view. So you're fetishizing something that it's not there. It's not there, right? To say Padme and this and that in your mind, you that's how you're seeing it. God bless, but that's not how the majority of us see it, right? We didn't grow we just didn't grow up seeing it like that. There's always been people of different backgrounds that have been so influential in the arts, and yes, really influential as far as music and fashion. A lot of them have been gay. This has been going on some over 100 years. I'm talking about like motion pictures now. So there's that, but then you're taking this leap that it's that Star Wars has been drag. Maybe there's been little characters where you're seeing something I haven't seen, but as far as these main characters, I'm totally confused, G Jedi. So enlighten me. I'm not being.
Even someone pointed out in the chat, they're like, Paulie said Gay Jedi like 20 times in 5 minutes.
What?
You did.
No,
but you are right. Like, it's very much I mean, it wasn't there. Like, obviously, you can project onto anything, right?
You can project onto anything, right?
And that's what they're doing here. And it's this would never have been even entertained 10 years ago, and it's only been entertained now because it's a hot, controversial topic, and that's the only reason why we're talking about it as well. And that's unfortunate because they're politicized. One, Gay Jedi is being politicized and being used, and he doesn't even realize it. Maybe that's his thing, I don't know. So anyway, I think that about rounds up the Gay Jedi.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
And his drag show. But I won't be attending that. I won't be watching that. It's
there's definitely something wrong with that.
But anyway, we're going to move on to a topic now that you're not remotely interested in, Tom. So
yeah, I think I'll check out. I got a show to prep for anyway. You guys can talk all The Last of Us you want. It's not something I've watched yet. I'm sure Andre will push me into it if he sees fit. But at this point,
I'll message him. I'll send him a WhatsApp, mate.
Well, he's been thinking about it because it is like such a popular show. So
yeah, it's good. It's good.
Oh, hey, you have Disney Plus, Tom?
I have it through my kid's phone. Yeah.
Wakanda Forever tomorrow.
Wakanda never.
I ain't
gonna waste 2 hours and 45 minutes on that crap.
I'm just saying that.
How can you talk about movies whilst you're not bloody watching them, Tom? Come on.
Well, I'm gonna try and get caught up with like Megan and a few other ones this weekend. Or this week here. Well,
Oh,
just
that's right,
finally
'cause-
coming on video on demand and stuff like that. So hopefully I can check it out now.
Ah, God. Well, hopefully you go watch Cocaine Bear opening weekend.
That I'll try maybe. It has a little more potential.
Tom, Cocaine Bear looks epic.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, tell everyone where you are, Tom, before we move on to our next topic.
am.
We don't want your address, Tom. Just fuck's sake.
I'm not even sure where I am. No. You can find me on Midnight's Edge After Dark. We're in about an hour or so. I'll be going live with the crew. Let's talk about a lot of the same shit we did here, but mostly the DC stuff, I'd imagine. But yeah. No, I'm looking forward to Cocaine Bear, but Elizabeth Banks is one of those that gives me pause. So yeah, we'll see.
I agree, but it looks decent. You can find a link to Midnight's Edge After Dark down below in the description box. Please do go and check it out. But thanks so much for joining.
Yeah,
Tom. We'll catch you on Thursday, buddy.
See you then. Take care, guys.
Peace.
So, last topic is The Last of Us.
Yeah.
So, The Last of Us, episode 3, is an interesting one. Lots and lots of pushback. I've, just doing that topic now, talking about drag, I'm sure there'll be a bunch of people that will twist my words and go, "You're a homophobe." You're a homophobe. And then I reviewed The Last of Us. I reviewed The Last of Us episode 3 positively, and people are like, "You're a fucking bender," and I'm like, "What?"
Oh my god!
Like, mate, I can't be both, right? I can't be both. All right, it's got to be one or the other. All right, make your fucking mind up. Excuse the language. So, have you had this was your idea to cover this? It was.
I can't believe you just threw me under the bus like that really quick.
Well, no, it's a good topic, but look, I mean,
I love it.
Let's talk about the backlash to it.
Well, where do we want to start with should we start with the episode so people know what we're talking about and everyone's fully aware?
Let's talk about the episode. I mean, you lead off. Talk about the episode itself, and then we'll sort of.
Are we doing spoilers? What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was out on Sunday. We're bloody Tuesday. We'll talk spoilers. But the only way you can talk about this is with spoilers because the episode is very insular, right? It's a world builder. It's setting the stage for emotional ramifications for Joel moving forwards, right? And it's important. Loads of people said it was filler. I disagree. But so you do have to kind of talk about some spoilers for this because it's a very an introspective episode, right? It sets the stage for emotional situations moving forward. So over to you, Paulie.
Okay, so the third episode, guys, is called "Long, Long Time," and it's also the title of the song that's used at the beginning and at the end. A song by Linda Ronstadt from 1970, incredible song, and basically it deals with when a person who has never loved somebody and has literally separated themselves from other people before this happened. That's how this person was living. They become a survivalist and get into all the things, and then he finds his purpose after the fact, after this thing happens, in loving and protecting another person. So that action right there, over the years, because the storytelling kind of jumps as far as the time. We're talking 2003 to 2023. So it jumps back and then it slowly in the episode works its way up 3 years later, 4 years later. So you got to kind of keep up. But I want to get to that, why they did that and why I think that was riveting as well. So by that action, by taking care of somebody and by protecting them, because they're big on that and they bring that up a lot, it lets that person grow as well. And also two challenges and say, we need to have friends. We need to basically connect with whoever else is out there that's surviving. And so by that, Joel and Tess are introduced, and they kind of influence each other, and there's a lesson there is that even though we fail, and we have failed taking care of this person, taking care of being this, I know I've done this right. I've done this one thing right. And I took care of the person that I love. And you, Joel, you can do the same thing. And I just thought it was just staggering, man.
And obviously the thing that you're missing out is that it's two blokes, right? So that you got to say it, because obviously I was like, well, I'm called a homophobe, and now I'm called a gay, etc. Because I reviewed this positively. And what you're missing out there, which is what's caused a lot of backlash. I say a lot. I mean, it's not a lot. There's just I think the issue is, right, like it's two blokes, and I like how you led off with just the thematic elements in the story rather than saying it's two blokes, because I think the problem is that people were primed. Like, the thing is, like, I cop a lot of flack, and a lot of people misunderstand me, right? They think I'm right wing. I'm not right wing. My politics are not right wing. I'm a classical liberal. I'm a centrist. I think both right wing and left wing are lunatics on certain things, and they're all right on some things. I disagree with large portions of both elements of the politics. And I think people misconstrue myself and my opinion on certain things, and because they see videos like the one we've just discussed, which was about the drag stuff, and they see being anti-gay or anti-LGBTQ, whatever it is. And that's why I was very, very quick to jump in and correct Tom, regardless whether he agreed with me or not. This is not me bad-mouthing Tom behind his back, by the way. This is not what I'm trying to do. But that's why I was very, very quick, and I've been quite conscious now of how I come across. Is that there's an important distinction to make there, right? Is that drag shows have no place in Star Wars. But when he said that there was a trans person presenting Star Wars Celebration, that's fine. There's fuck all wrong with that. There's literally nothing wrong with that at all. Person just existing, doing normal things, just being a normal human being. There's nothing wrong with that remotely. And if you do think there is, then you are a bigot. There's nothing wrong with that.
So
when you're inserting things into a scenario of which it's shoehorned in, and there is absolutely an agenda there. So, like, when we talk about the drag element, that's an agenda within Star Wars. There's no reason for it to be there. It's shoehorned in. And so people are obviously primed, for me personally, to rag on this episode because it's two blokes. But you remove that element from it, it's just a love story. There's nothing to dislike about it outside of outside of the fact that it's two blokes, if you don't like that. But outside of that, it's just a love story, and a powerful one at that.
Very powerful. And I on purpose in my video review that I did, I don't mention the fact that they're two men. That's not consequential to me being able to watch a story. Because I'm always professing story. I was riveted, and I never felt like I was being lectured to, or none of that. And I'm always honest with that stuff, even with like a Latino thing, like with Namor. Completely the opposite, right? I was very excited for it. I was very, yay, and then it was the worst case scenario, in my opinion. This was the best. I didn't even know that this was going to happen. Now, that being said, what's that?
Neither did I. I had literally no idea what this episode was going to be like, because I'm avoiding watching the previews that they have releasing for the next week's episode, because I do want to go in quite fresh. I've not played the games, so I'm just trying to enjoy it as it is each episode, which I'm quite enjoying, having that sort of fresh, opinion of it without any influence.
Yeah, and so that being said, the gay element in it, there's a lot to take from that. I was talking to my girlfriend about it, talking to other friends about it, is that the subtlety in the storytelling that different people will pick up on, which is fantastic. But this episode, it's meant for everyone to enjoy, right? So let me give you an example. They come in, and this is a spoiler time. They just met, and he saves him out of the hole, and he's going to feed him. And so Bill, is it Bill? Yeah, Bill and Frank.
Yeah, Bill's the survivalist one.
Bill's Frank is checking out Bill's home for the first time and looks at this shelf, and he takes his finger and he dust. That's a little insight, guys. That's a little insight. Then getting excited about the piano and the music in there. Another insight, and it's very subtle because it can mean nothing. It can mean something. And I just thought that is how you do it. That is how you do it. And here's the thing, right? If that's not for you, as far as just being uncomfortable, watching two men falling for each other, that's fine. That to me, that is not an abnormal reaction. That is a normal reaction if you're a straight person, and if you don't want to watch it, turn it off. I totally get it.
Yeah. Right? So just to jump in on that, I completely agree. Like the love story element, perfectly fine, perfectly comfortable with it, absolutely no issue. Like the moment the same sex stuff started happening, like I was a bit like, a bit OTT here. It's not for me. That's just not for me, right? Like don't enjoy watching that in any way, shape, or form. But there was a cut, so it was a quick cut, didn't show anything. And then it's important to note as well, it's not, because someone commented on my video and they were like, "Oh, I can't even let my kids watch this." I'm like, "It's not a fucking kids show. What are you on about? Like, it's not a kids show. You shouldn't be letting your kids watch this anyway. Like, it's, as far as I was aware, it's not a kids show. I could be wrong. I don't know what the rating is, but I think it airs at a time where, kids wouldn't be watching it. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's aimed at kids in any way, shape, or form. And loads of people are like, "Well, it didn't happen in the game," and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, sure. It didn't happen in the game. This is an adaptation. And, they are condensing the game down. I think it's into like 8 to 10 episodes. That's a lot of story to get through in such a short space of time. And you do have to set up the reasons as to why. I don't know, because I don't know what's going to happen moving forwards or what happens in the game to compare it. But you do have to set up the reason as how Joel gets to where we've introduced him to someone that's actually going to give a shit about Ellie. And that love story, which sets up the note at the end, is a powerful way to get Joel just to thinking as to why he should give a shit about Ellie. It's a really good way to do that,
I mean, okay, so two things. One, guys, Nate is absolutely right. This is not, if you're coming from it as a big fan of the first video game, and I hear it was like a massive following, it's an adaptation, and you're gonna compare it, and that's tough to do. Those are expectations that no one can fulfill except for you. So I don't know what to tell you. This is a TV show. It's not the video game, and this and that. But ultimately, it's up to those storytellers that are working the show. The other thing is, people are talking about how this is just kind of a filler, and why did it have to be a gay filler? Filler. It's like I disagree. It's for two reasons. One, for what you said, Mr. H, as far as the importance of the lessons that Bill and Frank shared with Tess and Joel, the humanity that they shared. I mean, Tess even said, "I needed this." That was a great, very quick scene. It's a flashback where they're having normal friends hanging out, having brunch. I mean, that was a great scene. And you see Joel is just, Joel and Bill are just, such alphas that they're just, just eyeing each other. Bill has his
gun off me.
Romeo was cracking up at that, but it makes sense. The protectors, and that's so with that filler, I honestly think, because I'm a huge zombie genre fan, I honestly think The Walking Dead really kind of over the last couple of years ruined the zombie genre for a lot of people, especially weekly television, because that is an example of a show going off its wheels and just becoming about virtue signaling and all that agenda stuff. That's where that was, I've watched every episode. So I honestly think that the writers took cue from The Walking Dead and said, we need to tell this story differently. We're going to jump around with this timeline, and we're going to stay with certain people, whether it's 10 minutes in Jakarta with that lady, or if it's 5 minutes.
So
or if it's 5 minutes with that intro, or an episode, and it's going to be powerful. And that in the 3 episodes is what I've seen, is all these people giving away the world, like I said, world building. And then how is it influencing Joel and Ellie? Because honestly, if I'm just going to see a story about episode after episode about Joel and Ellie, zombie, right turn corner zombie, left turn corner zombie, that is just not going to be good entertainment for me.
Yeah.
So,
well, also, I think Monix, for instance, and other people are saying the same thing, right? They're like, the first episode was an accurate depiction from the game, so why the deviation now? You same people will be very happy if they deviate from the story and the game moving forwards in The Last of Us Part 2. Because if they deviate from that story, you guys will be very, very happy. It's just because it's deviating into a direction which perhaps you didn't appreciate. And that's okay. That's fine. But to overrule or overlook, mine and Paulie's sort of stance on it, you're doing yourself a disservice, because there's definitely, whether you agree or disagree whether that's the right deviation to take or not, there's definitely a precedent for what we've said in terms of setting things up moving forwards for Joel as a character. It's all there,
it's all there.
It doesn't mean it doesn't mean we're right, but there's definitely precedent for what we're saying to be true, and for the setup to be in that vein. So I think sort of walk it back a little bit, because saying the deviation stuff, fair enough, but moving forwards, when they get to part 2, you're going to want them to deviate when they have Abby getting a fucking golf club to Joel's face, right? Let's be honest. And also the way they tell that story, you're going to want them to deviate from that into a way which is more palatable to watch. So at least now them deviating, and this is what I said in my review, is it sets up the precedent for them to deviate from it moving forwards, which is a good thing as well. So yeah, I don't know, but I think the pushback from it is unfortunate. You don't have to like it, you don't have to agree with it, you don't have to enjoy watching it, you don't have to be comfortable watching it. But to negate people's opinions, especially when it's well thought out, like me and Paulie have very, very clearly outlined our stances as to why this is well written and good for the future episodes in terms of character building. To sort of overlook that and do massive levels of pushback and insults is sad, I will say, at best. That's
listen, I'm not here to convince anyone to go see
definitely
it,
not,
right? This is my take, and this is what I'm taking away, and I laid the background. I'm not a gamer, I've never seen the game. Now I'm starting to see little clips here and there, but I even stopped that because I want this is how I'm taking it, how I'm watching it first. And just enjoying it. And each episode is so different from the other. Why would you want the same thing over and over? That's a video game. That's not a television show, guys. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's really it. And I, agree to disagree, move on. But and whatever you think of what's his name? The Neil guy, the creator?
Neil Druckmann.
Yeah, he's gotten so much, I know a lot of people don't like him. But his creation cannot be denied. I'm totally in. I'm totally riveted.
Apparently he wasn't. Apparently there's someone else that was more involved in it. I don't know. I just
okay.
So someone will correct in the chat, but apparently there's someone else that's
yeah, you're either gonna like it or you're not, guys. And I think again, that connective tissue of like, the drag story in this, it's however you set your principles and values. If it's something it's not for you, God bless, carry on. I totally get it. I just thought it was brilliant. I said this in my video. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but another spoiler, guys. Is it Frank, the one that's dying?
Yeah.
It's in the wheelchair, a degenerative disease.
Or
Linda
a
Ronstadt.
stroke, someone said.
A what?
Or a stroke, someone said in my comments.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Well, could be both.
I've read the description in that as degenerative. Let's just go with that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So the song they used by Linda Ronstadt was from the 70s, and Linda is suffering from a degenerative disease right now. So I'm wondering if that was a homage in some way to her legacy, her wonderful music. I was like, that is a nice icing on the cake, because but man, yeah, and I don't want to bore you guys, but I could break down there's so much happening in every scene. So it's so easy to say filler when it's not like, people jumping out of windows and, cracking zombie skulls. I get it. But one of the greatest episodes of The Walking Dead was called The Grove, where it was just basically them, two people talking. And at the end they had to do some crazy stuff. And that was a great episode.
That's the other thing as well, is that this slowdown episode for world building and character building and emotional drive, the sort of laying the seeds, right? It also served another purpose, which I said in my review, is that it also pulls back away from the monsters, which you need, because less is more. You saw 2 in this, and they weren't a threat. They weren't doing anything. They were less than what we've seen previously, because obviously the episode 2, we had the full-blown clickers, really violent, really going for it. And that was a very tense, very, very tense episode, because they were new. We hadn't seen them before. We hadn't seen the whole horde the way it had been.
The horde, the way it moved, yeah.
So to have that again, the next episode, it would lose its impact. So pulling back, having an episode where you are laying foundations and emotional elements, perfect, great, cool. Because then I guarantee you the next episode, I don't know, I've not seen any of the trailers or whatever, but I can almost guarantee the next episode there will be either another clicker or a bigger, more evil element monster, and it will be much more impactful. It'll be much more tense, because you've pulled back. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be. And you need that. Less is more. You can't have them every single episode. Why do you think The Walking Dead was shit at the end? They're just fucking zombies non-stop all the time. They're not tense when you just see them all the time. It's boring. So boring. It loses its impact. It's good to have a pullback and go, right, well, actually, let's reset it. They're not everywhere. So it means that they could be anywhere, which means it's even more tense at that point.
Yeah, again, I think there's a lot to take away from it, but that's just me, and it's a lot of other people that were really blown away by the first 3 episodes. And God, there was something else. I forgot.
Well, just to address the chat a little bit, they say that the clicker virus was spread by spores. Mate, they had to change it. You can't have people in gas masks talking all day long. You'd be pissed off. They'd end up sounding like Bane, all right, from Dark Knight Rises. You can't have them talking like that. It's not. You can't do it.
Well, and then
it was
you go
fine to change
right.
it being spread by
and you
spores.
go on to say it's a poor
Absolutely
decision. And not an adaptation. I mean, it's a complete adaptation. I mean, and it's a decision for the audience. We don't want to see gas mask the entire time. That's actually a really good choice. And you can make it work. Who else? There's some good comments, guys. You guys are rocking it.
Yeah, so I think that kind of wraps it up really for episode 3. Unless you got anything else to sort of add to it.
No. I mean, I think the backlash that I've seen from other reviewers is that this is an agenda, and they had their moment.
Yeah, but they
and
said that about
they
episode
put their
1.
agenda in there, and I think
they said that about episode 1 because they were like, well, Joel is just Tess's bitch. It was like, Tess fucking dies in the next episode, mate. So you probably should have shut your mouth. Like, you jumped the gun way too quick. Literally, people in episode 1 were like, oh, Joel is just Tess's bitch. That's just pushing the agenda. It's all whamming this, whamming that. It's like, yeah, well, she's dead now. So where's your argument? Oh, well, there's gay stuff. Oh, all right then, okay. At any moment, there's always going to be a reason to displease you, I'm sure. Like, at that point, you just can't please these people.
Yeah, I think it goes back to, okay, why are you really upset? Do you just not want to see, even though it might be, an incredible story? Do you not just want to see gay leading characters? That's fine. That's or is it an agenda? I mean, nothing on television is going to turn you into whatever. I mean, that's a whole nother thought I had, was that on the flip side, like something that the Star Wars thing is pulling, that's an agenda. That's pretty obvious. Other stuff that we see too, as far as drag shows with children, that's pretty, that can be pretty vile.
Yeah.
Not this. I don't see these connecting at all. And if you guys do, and if you have some great insight to that, please, you send me an email, drop me a line. I'm curious to hear your well, actually, probably not. Probably don't. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that about wraps it up. Good stream. Lots covered. If you're not subscribed to the second channel, please do. It's in the description box. Mistakes Reviews Live Archives. Lots of people sort of drop into these streams midway through. They drop out. So I chop these streams down into individual topics, so you can just watch them at your leisure, basically. You don't have to watch 2-3 hours. This is like 2.5 hours now. So yeah, please do subscribe to that channel. Trying to get it to 10,000 subscribers. That'd be great. Turn the bell notifications on as well. So the main channel, which, where you're watching this on now, is absolutely being nerfed at the moment. I don't normally say these things, but I do have to. You guys would have noticed you're probably not getting notifications. Views are like absolutely shocking. It's not being recommended to people. I can see all this from the analytics. So I know that this is the case, and it's very frustrating to me. So please do interact with the videos, like them, share them, hit the bell icon. Just all that good stuff. Really would appreciate it. And if you like the content, then it helps you because you'll actually get notified of it. And also, I'm posting them now to the community tab a bit more, my videos and things. So hopefully you guys will be able to check that out as well. Outside of that, please do check out Paulie from the Latino Slant, which you can find linked down below in the description box. Covers all things not Latinx. Because he hates Latinx. No, you cover lots of good stuff. Very interesting.
That's true.
And on Thursdays, there is the Post H party over on Post H cast party. Not Post H. I'm not dying on Thursday. Don't plan to. Anyway, maybe. Who knows? No. So yeah, you can find. There's normally a link. Actually, we did it last week.
Yeah,
which seemed to work quite well.
Olaf has been putting links in. Thank you guys. Thank you, Olaf. And we'll have this stream, and then we'll have the post party, that little after party stream, where we just continue the conversation with a different guest. And if Mr. H isn't that tired, he'll come and join us.
I was one of the guests last week.
You were.
It was fun. Who's your guest this week? Who's
Paul Chato.
Oh, okay, cool.
Paul Chato, yes.
Nice, excellent. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up, really. So, Dead Space remake. I released like 5 videos today. I was going to do another playthrough of Dead Space. So I'll do that tomorrow for anyone that's wondering where that is. I do plan to continue playing that. I just couldn't today because it was hectic. But thank you all so much from me and Paulie. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great evening, day, whatever it is. Take care. Peace out.
Bye, Gay Jedi.